This is the Gamakay LK67. It was sent to me by the folks over at Banggood. Check out the description for affiliate links if you'd like to pick one of these up. First, we're going to go over some background information on the board, including different versions of it and known issues. After that, we'll begin modding and picking out different combinations of switches and keycaps. Cool? Cool. You may also know this keyboard as the TM680 or TM680. It's a 65% tray mount keyboard with north-facing hot swap sockets and a knob. It's tri-mode, so you can use it wired, wireless via Bluetooth, or wireless via the included 2.4 GHz Wi-Fi dongle. There also exists a wired-only version, but Banggood only has the Gamakay branded tri-mode one. The one I have here is also pre-built, priced at $86. It comes with XDA profile keycaps and your choice of Gateron switches. Currently, it only comes in this blue and pinkish orange colorway. There is also a bare bones version that comes in either white or black, priced at $66. The included keycaps are made of PBT with dye sublimated legends. The blue and orange keys are reverse dye sub, meaning the colors are dyed all over a white keycap. Aesthetically, I'm not a huge fan of these, but they are pretty thick, so that should at least make for some good sound. For the switches, I picked Gateron Reds. I'm pretty sure these are the pro versions, as indicated by this bar on the LED slit on the top housing and the shape of the stem pole. There also seems to be some light factory lubing on the stem legs. The software linked in the Banggood product page was unfortunately unable to detect my keyboard. However, I was able to find one for the TM680 that did work. It's in Chinese by default, but you can switch it to English. With the software, you're able to customize key bindings, lighting, and macros. If you decide to go with the pre-built in this colorway, you should take the knob color into consideration. It probably won't match well with very many keycap colorways. For this reason, I also picked up a couple of replacement knobs for easier matching. This black one even has a diffuser ring for the RGB to shine through. Unfortunately, the LEDs around the knob seem to only be for indicating what mode you're in. They'll light up when you switch modes, but will eventually turn off. I also learned that the GMMK Pro's knobs are compatible. They're a little bit smaller though, so you'll end up with this gap around the knob. There are a couple of known issues with this keyboard that you should be aware of. First, it's been widely reported that PCB death can occur by simply unplugging the board's USB cable while your computer is on. I've seen people state that this only occurs with the wired-only version, and I've confirmed that it does not occur on my tri-mode version, but your mileage may vary. The other issue has to do with the switch on the back of the tri-mode version for toggling between modes. When opening up the case for modding, there is a tendency for this switch to break off. In order to avoid this, you need to start disassembly from the top. This was discovered and demonstrated by Regalado. It's not exactly an issue, but it's important for planning out your build that you consider this board's north-facing switch orientation. From my experience, this leads to interference with cherry profile keycaps on all rows except the topmost one. I've also experienced it with sufficiently thick OEM profile keycaps on the same rows. With all of that background out of the way, we can finally start using the keyboard. Out of the box, it does not sound great, which is to be expected. The case sounds hollow and the switches are noisy. So for the first round of mods, I lubed the switches, retuned the stabilizers, and added a sheet of 2mm EVA case foam. Less hollow, less noisy, and a tad bit lower pitch. Definitely improved, but not quite there yet. This needs some more advanced modding in order to get a significant improvement in sound. So underneath the PCB, I applied a couple of layers of painter's tape for the Tempest tape mount. I added O-rings to the tray mount screws above and below the plate to mitigate some of the hard contact with the bottom case. I did this for just 4 of the 8 screws. I also had to break off these little plastic pegs on the top case so that the O-rings wouldn't be squished too much and have their effect negated. You get this gap in between the top and bottom case pieces as a result, but I don't mind it. This finalized version of the board with all of the mods, stock switches, and stock keycaps is our first config. For config 2, I used Durock Lavenders and the Akko ASA Blue Samurai to avoid interference. These have scooped homing keys though, and those do still interfere, unfortunately. Config 3 is our last one. I used Boba U4Ts paired with GMK laser. This is a cherry profile keycap set, but the Bobas have long stem poles, which causes their stems to peek out of the top housing a tiny bit, which eliminates north-facing interference. I'll leave the sound test for all 3 configs at the end of the video, but here are my thoughts on them. Config 1 is actually the thockiest of the 3. These Gateron Pro Reds are very impressive. The Lavenders actually work really well in config 2. I find those really muted on most other boards, but since this board is pretty loud, they sound just right here. The Bobas don't sound as sharp as other long stem pole switches I've tried, which is good, but their 2-stage sound gets really grating on this board. I feel like they're jackhammering into my skull. On all 3, the spacebar remains a bit too loud and unpleasant for my liking, and overall, there is still some hollowness. I think the singular sheet of 2mm EVA foam I used is probably not enough. Keyboard did a silicone pore in his LK67 video, and I think that would be the ideal sound dampening solution for this board. Overall, this is an enjoyable keyboard to use, but if you're a THOCK aficionado, you should expect to have to mod this board in order to really enjoy it. Everything else works really well though. I appreciate knobs even though this one is only able to control volume and play/pause with a click, no customization. And the wireless works well via both Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. The north-facing orientation is kind of annoying, but there are ways to work around it. I expected to like the blue color of the case a lot less than I actually do. I would still prefer black or white, but this doesn't look bad, especially when paired with the right keycap set and an aftermarket knob. That concludes my look at the Gamakay LK67. What do you think about the keyboard? Has this video convinced you to pick one up? Are there other alternatives to consider? Please let us know in the comments. Again, if you're interested in picking up this board, please use the affiliate links in the description to help the channel out. And if you found this video helpful, informative, entertaining, or any other positive adjective, please consider giving it a like and subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. If you'd like to help the channel survive, please stay until the end of the final sound tests. Thank you so much for watching.